Thanks, Butch. Our roving VNL crew must really be on a roll these past months because our segment Food Trip always seems to have something new in the menu. This time around, they went to South to Philinvest in Alabang in search of good ramen. Watch this.
Five years ago, ramen was a Japanese meal that wasn't yet in the mainstream of Filipino favorites. Some Japanese restaurants carried it in their menu, but it was mostly Japanese expats who ordered this, while other tables had full orders of sashimis and sushis. Fast forward to now. Ramen houses have sprouted around the metropolis, and the surprise is, almost all of them are full. We're talking, of course, of genuine ramen houses, those specialty houses that have earned the right to be called themselves an authentic ramen house. Our roving BNL crew went all the way to the south to Philinvest to sample this authentic ramen. Word of mouth has spread in the foodie community about this new ramen house, just barely a month old in fact, where genuine ramen lovers or new converts flock to when the hunger pangs strike them. This is the new Butamaru ramen house at West Gate Center in Philinvest, Alabang. The unmistakable Japanese character is easy to spot in the restaurant's facade and signage. One enters a zen-like atmosphere of stark, clean lines of black and white with bamboo accents in the uncluttered interiors of Butamaru. It is as simplified as the Japanese way, evident in this long black granite tabletop with white placemats, uncluttered by utensils, coming alive only when the steaming bowl of hot, delicious ramen is set in front of you. One of the owners is Jerome Lim, who himself is an accomplished chef. Knowing what he wanted, he traveled to Japan for intensive training in the making of genuine, authentic ramen before he set up to open his own place.
Actually, we started like 2 years ago. We really wanted to open up our ramen. So before we were thinking of franchising a shop, but in the end, I'm a chef. So in the end, we just composed and made our own recipe for the soup and the noodles, but I had training in Japan for 2 months for how to make the noodles.
According to Chef Jerome, Buta means pig in Japanese and Maru means circle. So you know that pork is a basic ingredient in this ramen house. There are ramen houses and there are ramen houses. But what sets them apart? Simple. They make their own noodles by hand painstakingly, as Chef Jerome's Japanese mentor has taught him. And the broth. Look at this simmering golden broth which took 16 hours to boil, extracting all the pork goodness and rendering it into a flavorful broth. They demand nothing but top quality pork and pork bones, which are delivered to the restaurant fresh every day.
The most difficult part of running a noodle shop is to make the broth. It's 16 hours, 16 to 20 hours, so it's really time consuming.
Butamaru also prides itself in making its own gyoza wrapper, gyoza being one of their staples as well.
We serve gyozas too. We have 2 different kinds, but I'm planning to have every month or maybe every quarter, we will have different kinds of gyoza. So right as of now, we have the normal gyoza and we have the curry chashu gyoza. We have Japanese fried rice for the side dishes too. And then maybe next month I'll have the steam buns, steam chashu buns as well.
But Butamaru is basically a ramen house. And while their gyozas and Japanese fried rice are their best sellers as well, people come to this restaurant to sample their much talked about ramen. Check out the Japanese condiments that you can freely use on your ramen. But let's ask Jerome to do the talking when it comes to their gyoza and ramen.
So this is our traditional gyoza. We make our own wrappers and then it's made up of ground pork, of course, and the vegetables inside. So this is our curry chashu gyoza. We use our chashu and we put our own curry paste. It's priced at 150 per plate.
Gyoza lovers will be pleased to note that when you present a flyer of Butamaru to the service staff, they will automatically give you 3 pieces of gyoza to start off your happy meal. Now to sample those steaming bowls of delicious ramen.
This is our curry tantan. Basically, it's a tantan men, but we put our own touch and added curry to the tantan paste. It's 350 per bowl. This is our tantan men. Basically, it's a fusion of Chinese and Japanese style. So peanut and sesame paste. It's spicy, and you can order it mild spicy or real spicy. It's also 350 per bowl.
We noticed that most authentic ramen houses price their ramen almost uniformly, between 300 pesos to 350 pesos per bowl. That is definitely more than your usual Chinese bowl of mami, but then, do they boil and simmer their pork for 16 hours? And does their broth look anything like this rich golden broth that speaks of the long, long hours of boiling and simmering?
This one is the shoyu ramen. Basically, it's soy sauce flavored tonkotsu ramen. It's priced at 320. Comes with 2 slices of chashu. One is the miso ramen, our own version. I used red miso for the miso paste and added my little touch with like garlic and ginger. It's priced at 350 per bowl.
Note that the broths come differently with every flavor. Some may be golden or reddish or even white, depending on the flavor that is specified. And even with ramen houses owners themselves, they too have their personal favorites.
This one is my personal favorite. It's the Shio ramen, which basically it's a salt flavored ramen. It's priced at 300 peso per bowl.
To ramen lovers, nothing soothes like a steaming hot bowl of broth and noodles to calm a grumbling stomach. It pleases the palate and comforts the soul, much like this old Japanese man in this black and white photo. Ramen is comfort food at its best, the Japanese way. But when the craving for rice strikes, there is also the takana.
This one is our takana chahan. Basically, it's a our version of our Japanese fried rice. We use our chashu also for the meat of the rice. It's priced at 200 peso per bowl. It's good for 2.
Like their minimalist interiors, Butamaru's menu is simplified. They have trimmed down the choices to what they do best so that a diner who reads the menu is not confused about his choices. Welcome to Butamaru, the menu reads. Welcome to a whole new dining experience.
I'd like to invite you guys to try our resto Butamaru, located at CE 405 West Gate Center, West City, Alabang. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at ButamaruPH. Telephone number is 887-4255. Or email us at eat@butamaruramen.com.
Buta means pork in Japanese, and maru means circle. When you dine here at Butamaru, the name defines the dining experience that you will get to enjoy with their select menu of ramen and gyoza. Back to you, Butch.